As we see our neighbor to the north become a garrison state as a result of the government response to the peaceful truckers' strike, the concern for liberty in the United States should no longer be paranoia or conspiracy theory. The historical precedent of countries turning into a prison or garrison state is long established. Consider the reign of terror in the French Revolution. Terrorism was then defined as the process of governing through intimidation. Since that time, governments have been responsible for more reigns of terror than any other source, killing over 170 million people in just the 20th century. I am Jeff Robertson, a practicing attorney with over 35 years of courtroom experience and a retired Marine officer of 27 years of service, active and reserve. Law enforcement is the responsibility of state and local government. Yet have you noticed the growth of national forces with police powers? Even the EPA agents are now armed. Have you noticed that police forces locally are being controlled more and more by the general government through grants and national training to the point where local police forces are becoming paramilitarized? Does it concern you that local and state law enforcement is being groomed by the general government to be prepared to wage its own war on terror against the American people? Look at what happened in parts of Australia in the last year. Look at what is happening in Canada right now. Notice that the first step in Canada's government clamping down on dissidents was to use the banking and hence the monetary system against them. The United States, like most of the world's governments, no longer uses true money. They use fiat currency and fractional reserve banking, which are inherently unstable and readily subject to manipulation by the general government. Monetary theory is beyond the scope of these videos, but you should familiarize yourself with what real money is and the insidious nature of fractional reserve banking. Suffice it to say that what the Federal Reserve creates, it can take away, and since most of the banks with which we deal are nationally insured, access to your money is always subject to the whims of those in power. The Constitution grants to Congress the power to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standards of weights and measures. It does not, however, grant it the power to emit bills of credit or interfere with contracts. So here we are with a National Department of Homeland Security that not only does not provide any homeland security, but forms another layer of national police force, used primarily against its own citizens. Our own security, as individuals, as families, and as communities, clearly cannot depend on the general government to protect their liberty, their rights, or their security. Fortunately, since we the people established the Constitution under which all other governments exist, we are not only entitled, but we have a duty to take charge of the situation. Contrary to what you might believe, there are several reasons why we are uniquely qualified to do that. First, as it states in the preamble to the Constitution, we, the people, establish the government, making it a government of the people themselves. It would seem, therefore, that the first order of business, the first goal of Homeland Security, if you will, should be to reestablish and maintain popular self-government. We did not establish a government of elected officials, bureaucrats, judges, political parties, NGOs, or the like. We created it for the people in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. It is our duty, then, to make sure it remains a government by the people, particularly in the area of homeland security, in fact, not just theory. This does not mean mob rule. Our government still operates as a representative democracy, as did the colonial governments pre-Constitution. The militias were created through the representative democracy to directly perform a critical government function, that of homeland security at the most local and decentralized level. Those who hold public office, in my experience, have no qualifications that put them above the rest of us, such that they should be rulers rather than representatives. They are our agents, nothing more. They can claim no authority to substitute their standards for those of the people, to exclude the people from the designing and putting in place a system of homeland security, to withhold facts in the name of national security that are necessary to the people's ability to evaluate how their representatives are performing in their task of developing a plan for homeland security, or to deny the people the information we need to properly govern ourselves. Second, since we, the people, created the Constitution, we can and must protect it by actually exercising the authority as its creators. The cause of each threat to the United States goes back to unconstitutional acts by identifiable office holders at every level of government, elected and appointed. As long as the people are willing to accept that the meaning of the Constitution is subject to interpretation, and that only public officials can do the interpreting, it will only get worse. The preamble, however, says that we, the people, do ordain and establish this Constitution. Present tense, not past. We are just as responsible as those that ratified it in 1788. We are superior to the Constitution, which means we are superior to every public official to whom limited powers have been delegated. Since the people created the Constitution, and the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and according to Blackstone, law is a, quote, rule of civil conduct prescribed by the supreme power in a state, commanding what is right and prohibiting what is wrong, close quote, the people, not their agents, are the ultimate source and interpreters of the Constitution. Only the people may amend the Constitution by conventions or through their state legislatures. Only the people can determine what the Constitution actually means, and then whether their agents are properly construing and applying it. In a case called Proper versus Clark, the Supreme Court said, quote, the power to enact carries with it final authority to declare the meaning of the legislation, close quote. The people enacted the Constitution, therefore the people have the final authority to declare the Constitution's meaning. Again, according to Blackstone, quote, whenever a question arises between the society at large and any magistrate vested with powers originally delegated by that society, it must be decided by the voice of the society itself. There is not upon earth any other tribunal to resort to, close quote. We cannot have our agents defining their own authority, which is why the Constitution cannot be a fluid document. For us to govern ourselves, we must interpret our own supreme law authoritatively and finally. Otherwise, we are ruled by our agents. What happens when our public servants, our agents, fail to perform an act required by law, or exercise the law wrongfully, or actually break the law such that our security is in danger? What does the Constitution say about it? Congress has the duty to call forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union. Well, what if Congress shirks its duty? Each state creates, organizes, and sets forth the equipment and duties of its own militia, allowing them to execute the laws within the respective states. But what if the states neglect or fail to execute their duties? It would seem that the militia, being the embodiment of the people, rather than allowing the laws to remain unexecuted, would do what Congress and the states should have done and perform the mission given by the Constitution or the respective state constitutions. In the next video, we will cover more reasons why the people are uniquely qualified to take charge of the situation. If you enjoy this video and would like to see more like it, please push the subscribe button below and share this video with others who are concerned with how to constitutionally take our country back. If you would like to receive notices of when upcoming videos are released, please press the bell and you will be among the first to get my new videos. Thank you for watching.